Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 87th episode of Don't Forget the Popcorn. Well, Cannes Film Festival just ended and another one in the books. So, in honor of that, I decided to do the 20 best Palme D'or winners. Truthfully, it doesn't matter who wins this year because right now, I won't see the movie for a little while anyway. But I'm still excited to see the winner. Now, by the time this comes out, the festival will be over, but at the time of making this, it is still going on. The Palm is one of the most prestigious awards a film can get. I mean, truthfully, I think it's more important than pretty much every other award for the year except maybe Best Picture, although I usually like the Palm winner more. Truthfully, the only thing I think maybe makes Best Picture winner more important is just the reputation it carries. But there are some very, very bad Best Picture winners. When you go through the Palm winners, even the winners in the Grand Prix days, they were great. So the Palm has had a history of name changes and shared wins and stuff like that. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm only doing movies that won since it has officially been the Palm since 1975. So roughly the last 50 years. Now don't get me wrong. If I added all the movies since the Cannes Film Festival began, this list would look very different. But let's keep it simple. I know this list will be very controversial, and I'm all for it. I'm doing the top 10, and I'm going to have 5 honorable mentions. Let me know what I got wrong. Like and subscribe. Follow me on Letterboxd. It's linked below. And let's get into the best Palme d'Or winners. Number 10, The White Ribbon, 2009, directed by Michael Haneke. Haneke is one of the most interesting and thought-provoking directors. The way he tells a story always puts you in the movie and you feel everything the characters are feeling, especially when they are in distress. The characters aren't in distress here like in funny games, but in a less direct way. A looming mystery about a village in World War I era, Austria, where there's a lot of things going wrong. The themes in this are rich and haunting. The characters are perfectly written and acted. The ending is ambiguous yet strong, and at 2.5 hours, this thing flies by. I was glued to the screen. I mean, it's black and white, very minimal, yet it shows the director's brilliance. The film is disturbing in a lot of ways and will frustrate you. It challenges beliefs and morality and asks a lot of questions on the themes of love, abuse, religion, revenge, and even capitalism. This is easily a deserved Palme winner, and if you haven't seen this, I'd give it a watch. Number 9, Anatomy of a Fall, 2023, directed by Justine Triet. The most recent winner is one of the best. Justine Triet created one of the best screenplays of last year with an homage to Otto Preminger's Anatomy of a Murder. Sandra Hüller gave one of the best performances of the year, giving a blend of fire and ice as we try and figure out if this woman killed her husband or not. This is a movie where it lets the watcher make up their own mind. It doesn't tell you what to think. It shows us the ugly side of relationships, what tragedies can do to them, and how time can really change the people in them. I need to seriously give a shout out to every supporting actor. The French lawyer and her son were incredible. Yes, the dog was great too. The fact that Trier made a 2.5 hour courtroom drama this captivating is very impressive. So much so, I would say it rivals Anatomy of a Murder. I can't wait to see what she does next. This was also nominated for Best Picture. Number 8, Secrets and Lies, 1996, directed by Mike Leigh. This film is one that actually is quite heartwarming and funny. Seeing as most Palme winners are some depressing ass or crazy ass film, this one will be the breath of fresh air on this list. A film about a young black British woman who seeks out her real mom and finds out she's a working class white woman. I mean, the premise alone is pretty funny. But make no mistake, this film hits the emotions and pulls on the heartstrings. Mike Leigh crafted a real nice story here that just makes you appreciate humanity as a whole. It shows you people can change and adjust. It flips certain stereotypes on their heads that make for an interesting and relatable film on a lot of different levels. It shows you how families come in layers and there's always skeleton hiding, hence the title. Brenda Blethyn gave an all-star performance and she'll have you calling everyone sweetheart by after the film. All the actors are actually great. It hits on a lot of topics that a lot of people can probably relate to, especially women. But this is a great film to watch with the whole family. Number 7, Parasite, 2019, directed by Bong Joon-ho. Well, I think we all knew this would make the list, but the question was where? Don't worry, some older movies are coming. But we got to talk a little bit about Bong's Palme and Oscar winning masterpiece. This movie kind of took the world by storm and opened the door for the recent boom in international cinema. This slick and funny thriller takes us on a ride as we examine classism in Korea, a film where we see some funny and haunting stuff. This movie sort of feels like three movies in one. It shifts on you, but its themes never falter. Bong Joon-ho really did make a film that I truly think is one of the best of all time. Now, why isn't it higher on this list? Because there's some better films to come. Song Kang-ho and Park So-dam give some all-star performances as they always do. Bong Joon is truly one of the most gifted directors of all time. His catalog is really impressive, but this will surely be his magnum opus. This film gets under your skin, and depending on where you lie on the social scale, is how it's going to determine the way you take it. Number 6. Apocalypse Now, 1979, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. The movie that almost killed most of the people involved. Talk about a riddle production. Harsh filming environments, problems with actors, people getting sick, interference from the locals, you name it. Not to mention, my man put up his own money for this, and he's doing it again with Megalopolis. I'm glad this movie got the recognition it did because, man, if it didn't, Francis could possibly not be with us anymore. Considered one of the best war films ever made, this film follows Captain Willard as he is sent on a mission to kill General Kurtz in Vietnam. Now, this movie is one of those ones that kind of leaves you stunned. So much gritty yet fun stuff happens. We got surfing, USO shows, dudes dropping acid, along with dudes getting brutally murdered, and people's mental states are deteriorating. Martin Sheen, Marlon Brando, and Robert Duvall give us some of the best performances of all time in this war horror movie. Although it's not my favorite Vietnam movie, I have to say there really isn't another more war movie quite like it. It's almost like a road trip movie with buddies, but of course, shit is gonna hit the fan. If you haven't seen this, I'd be shocked. This film also was nominated for Best Picture. Number 5. Dancer in the Dark, 2000, directed by Lars von Trier. Lars is a Cannes regular, and he's had his controversy with the festival. But make no mistake, they love Lars. Dancer in the Dark is one of the best musicals ever made. If you aren't familiar with this director, I suggest getting to know him. Shot on a handy cam, Dancer in the Dark follows a woman quickly going blind as she's on a quest to prevent her son from the same fate. This movie put me in some hard tears, and on my first watch, I must say Bjork blew me away. Icelandic singer gives an all-time performance as Selma, and I don't know how she didn't get an Oscar nom. It's okay, she won Best Actress at Cannes. The movie is Lars at his best as well. With smooth writing and choreography, this goes down as one of the most tragic musicals of all time. Legendary French actress Catherine Deneuve also gives a great performance. If you haven't seen this, it's a must-watch. Not a musical you watch with your kids. It's brutal at times, and that's what makes it amazing. It shows us how humanity can act when their backs are against the wall in a slew of situations. Number 4. Pulp Fiction, 1994, directed by Quentin Tarantino. Well, I know y'all were waiting for it. With some knowing QT is one of my favorite directors, they might think this would be number 1. But there are some really good Palme winners. Pulp Fiction is one of the best movies ever made, and I'm sure everyone has seen this. I really don't need to describe it, but I will. It's a very loose plot following a few people's specific lives, but they all connect. Told in non-linear format, QT really changed the game with this movie that was clearly inspired by Goodfellas. It had snappy dialogue, crazy violence, and it was just different than anything coming out at the time. This movie is a pop culture staple, and we've seen it replicated in many ways through many mediums. Jules is one of my favorite movie characters of all time, and I think this is one of the most quotable movies ever made. There are some nutty shit in this movie, but it's so slick and cool, you just have to love it. I know you guys have seen this, so I don't need to tell you to watch it. This is easily one of my favorite movies. Number 3. Paris, Texas, 1984, directed by Wim Wenders. Ah, what a picture. Something about Wim Wenders, he just knows how to pull on my heartstrings anytime I watch one of his films. His movies are like poetry, and Robbie Mueller gave us some of the best cinematography I think I've ever seen. This film is about a man who is lost in life, who ends up reconnecting with his brother and long lost son. His presence back in everyone's lives shakes everything up, and we get one of the best road trip movies and just one of the best movies ever made. It's like the folks at Cannes have really made some good picks. Some bad ones too, don't get me wrong. But overall, they have some great taste. The first time I watched this movie, I was glued to the screen and I don't think I blinked until the tears started flowing. This is a movie lover's movie, one that takes in slowly and let the emotions build as you watch. Let yourself empathize with every character for one reason or another. Put yourself in the shoes of all these people and think about what you would do in this situation. Harry Dean Stanton gives us an all-star performance with a rare leading role. He was more of a supporting guy, but I'll tell you, he really hit it here. The landscape painted, the score, the way this movie builds on you until it all crashes down just shakes you up. If you haven't seen this, watch it with someone special. Number 2. All That Jazz, 1979, directed by Bob Fosse. This is the second best musical of all time, and Fosse's Cabaret is the first. All That Jazz is one of those movies that makes you feel like you are slightly going crazy with the character. It puts you right in the shoes of our lead Joe, played wonderfully by Roy Schreider. Honestly, Roy is one of the most underrated actors ever. This isn't a regular musical. It's a movie with some musical numbers in it. That's what makes it great. The way Bob constructs these films with the choreography and the deep plot is something only he can really do. The music in his movies I actually listen to on a regular basis. If you've seen Cabaret, tell me you haven't played Money Money a few times. This movie follows Joe, who clearly is a take on good old Bob himself. As he is prepping for a show and editing a film he directed, this man is spiraling out of control as he does lots of drugs, smokes and drinks heavily, and is woman crazed. I can't express enough how much this movie means to me. Another one of my favorites and one of the most original and honest takes on a man down a bad path. I would suggest this movie to anyone. It's fun, sexy, and super slick and stylish. Now, before we get into number 1, we got a few honorable mentions. I have 5, no particular order. Triangle of Sadness, 2022. The Square, 2017. Amor, 2012. 4 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days, 2007. And Farewell My Concubine, 1992. And for our number 1 pick, Taxi Driver, 1976, directed by Martin Scorsese. Come on, what else did you expect? The legend, the man, Martin Scorsese, with this groundbreaking character study about a war vet disturbed and going through PTSD. It stars my other dude, Bobby De Niro, giving us some of his most iconic lines in movie history. He plays his role to perfection, and Marty, well, he's Marty. He kills it like he does 95% of the time. Paul Schrader wrote one of the best screenplays of all time, and while the Oscars were busy giving Rocky one of the worst Best Picture winners, the Cannes Film Festival got it right and handed it to Taxi Driver. Taxi Driver is a film about a war vet who starts driving a cab in New York City as we see him changing slowly, spiraling out of control. I know people consider this a film bro movie or say it hasn't aged well. That's a bunch of bullshit. This is a movie for everyone, and it speaks to so many different people and so many different topics that are still relevant today. It ends so beautifully, leaving us with so many great unanswerable questions. This movie had its issues in production, but man, what we got was nothing short of legendary. If it wasn't for a film that came out in 1990, this would be Marty's best movie. You can argue that with me all day long. This movie is still a pop culture icon and inspired many of the greats. If you don't like this movie, I strongly suggest a rewatch. Clearly, this is easily a top 25 movie of all time. Guys, thank you so much for watching my best Palme D'or winners. Let me know your favorite Palme winners below. Let me know if there's a topic or a film you'd like me to review. If you made it this far, like and subscribe, I'd appreciate it. Follow me on Letterboxd, Ralph Vader, I'll link that below. I got a podcast with my buddy, The Cutting Room Floor. I'll link that below as well. I'll be back next week. And don't forget the popcorn.